Beautiful before and after, right? Would you believe me if I told you one side of the eyebrow is just with the brow pencil and the other side, I just use a brow powder. I'm going to show you how they can look very similar and you can decide which is the best product for you. So stick around and I'm going to show you how to use a pencil or a powder. Hey everybody, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. I am your brow expert because I've been shaping eyebrows for over 25 years and some of you might be new here. I still shape brows at the Anastasia salon in Beverly Hills. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, please come by and get your brows waxed, tweezed, get the right color picked for you. And some of you have. Thank you for trusting me with your eyebrows. So this video is really all about the brow pencil or brow powder. I get asked this all the time. I still get asked this, and I probably will always get asked this. Which one should I use? This video is just going to show you how to best use a powder with the angle brush or the pencil. I often tell clients, try both. Go to a counter, come to the salon, and see what's comfortable for you because, you know, one is not that it's better than the other, but one kind of gives a tiny bit of a different look than the other. So you want to stick around, and I'm going to show you how different or not. Are you guys ready? Yeah, she has beautiful eyebrows, right? But they are a little bit on the sparse side, and there are some gaps throughout. So the powder or a pencil will go a long way, just a little bit. So pay attention because I'm going to show you a couple of tricks using the powder or the pencil, and you're going to see how much the same they can be. But they do offer a little bit of a different look. But before we get into that, I always like to apply a little bit of highlighter underneath. It starts like a light template, if you will. A tiny bit will go a long way. As you're going to see, even on myself, yes, I have an old brow tattoo that has faded away, but you can see just by doing this how much the brows come to life, right? I'm not going to blend it in too much so that way you can see the brightness. And it just kind of opens up the eye, really. So here in this case, it just, like I said, is like a template, a light border, if you will. So this side will be the powder and the angle brush. I froze this because the brush is, like I said, an angle. You guys probably already know this, right? Because you use it. The longest side will always go more to the front, right? And that's why I need you to look at me, is once you grab the color, you want to make sure that you grab the color side by side so it stays sharp. Okay, so I'm going to say okay a lot. Hopefully not. Okay, so there I go. So here, see how I'm patting the brush right at the edge of the highlighter and the brows. And I'm patting because you don't really need to move the brush back and forth. Just a little will go a long way. I say that a lot too. Because right at the edge, you see the way I'm holding the brush? If I do this, it's really hard to see what I'm doing. So hold it this way and just pat back and forth. Look at this. I'm raising the brush up. The reason I do this is so that it gives you a background without going too heavy. So by raising the brush up this way, you're getting just enough color. Let me get some color. And you're getting it right at the edge where that highlighter and the brows meet. And by raising the brush up, you're getting it just enough, but not too heavy. Obviously down here, you want angle it over here. You're still seeing your eyebrows. You're not doing this. You're just doing this right over here. And I'm just patting, you guys. I'm not really moving the brush back and forth. So the top is where I also want you to do. And look at this. Now, the top is where I think most of us don't do. And look at this. You're angling the brush and you're dragging the brush down. Whether you have full eyebrows or thin eyebrows, if you go at the top of the edge of the eyebrows and drag it down, I promise you, you'll get them fuller. And by dragging it down, you'll get the inside of your eyebrows filled in without, again, dragging the brush side by side. Drag it down. And right over here, you always want to go outside. Whatever's left on the brush, that's when you go up in the front. You notice that most of my application never starts right up here. It always starts kind of right here. So that way the front doesn't get too dark. Towards the end of the ends, you can afford to go a little bit darker and heavier. Because I always like the ends to be a tiny bit on the darker side. So that's where you can be generous in your application, right over here. So that way it's a little bit darker. I always like the ends to be a tiny bit darker. Let's do the pencil on the other side. How many of us roll it out too much? Don't do that. You want to just roll it out a tiny bit, and look at this. I'm doing a line right at the border again with the highlighter and the eyebrows. I'm right-handed. I'm doing the left side. Try holding the pencil this way. You don't have to. You can still hold it this way as long as you're not right over your eyes. Sideways, everything sideways or over the eyebrows. I sometimes like to do this to get right at the edge of the highlighter. Draw that line. Look at this. I'm going in an angle, going at the base of that first line, and then just back and forth, kind of giving, again, a background without dragging the pencil back and forth. You'd be surprised how much color you still can get without going too heavy. So I'm doing this little line here, and then I'm doing this. See? I can hold it up this way and make that line, but as long as you do this little angle. Then this up here, again, don't forget the top area. I'm going right at the edge, always at the edge, always at the edge, edge, and then you're just going inside. The reason why I'd say the edge is that you keep the eyebrows or try to make them a little bit fuller. Right over here at the end, that's again where you can be a little generous. You notice that the pencil is laying down, and that's where you just go a little bit, not too much, okay? So up in the middle, that is. Then whatever's left on the front, whatever, not left on the brush, but once you get the shape down here, up in the front, that's when you can just go very lightly. Right over here. You notice that the front is a light pressure because it's sideways. When it's sideways, it's light pressure. Don't forget the spoolie brush, guys. The spoolie brush is everything because it just tones everything down. And of course, very important, the brush 18. You guys see me use this all the time, right? This is what's going to blend out the highlighter or concealer for that matter. But underneath, it's going to be the highlighter, right? This is when you shape your eyebrows too. Don't forget that. Don't forget the highlighter, the brush above, because then it really brings out the eyebrows more so. If you do this above the eyebrows right here, you really see your eyebrows being a little bit fuller. This is when you can make your adjustments as well. This is a beautiful before and after, right? Because it's made up, obviously, but it's not heavily made up. That's what I want you to look at. It's not heavily made up. I'm also, you know what, at this time, you can also make these little adjustments. And don't forget to use the clear brow gel, because once you put some gel over your eyebrows, it really actually keeps the product on so much longer. So try this out and let me know what you guys think. Now, I didn't go over it with you on the model as I'm showing you how I'm holding the products. But what I want you to know is by looking at me, this side was the powder. Now, the powder can go on darker than the pencil. Sometimes people think, oh, if I use the powder, it's softer, it's lighter. It's really about the pressure. And I didn't mention that, but it's really about how hard you press or how light you press or how hard you tap or brush. The pencil looks a little lighter on me, right? Because you notice that I held the pencil sideways a lot. I didn't hold the pencil head on. And I just really press very lightly on my skin. You know, that's something I might have should have shared as I'm doing it. But, you know, it is something that most of us think that powder is lighter. Just remember, it's all about how you're using the product and pressing the product on your skin. The powder's great because it gives it a powdery look. It's not as waxy because pencils are made out of wax. It has to, of course, in order to make the product. Some of us could be heavy-handed with the pencil because it's a stiff tool. The brush, you tend to be maybe lighter-handed, so that's something you might want to go to. You might want to go to. But try both. See what's easiest for you. Because, you know, either one can last a good while, especially if you apply a clear brow gel. So that can last. If you tend to be very oily, some people think powder's better, but I often think that even pencil can work as long as this area is patted dry, as long as you make sure that you remove a lot of the skincare on your eyebrows first. That way the products will adhere better. Okay, so don't forget that. I hope this tip helped. Please let me know if it did. Let me know if you shared this with someone, and I'll see you guys next week.